Hey everyone! So this is one of my second to last catch up review that I got to record. Probably not the one I upload in order, but we're back with Dennis Camp's Ultimates, and yep, the Ultimates is still awesome because it continues to do an interesting reinvention of the Avengers and all their adjacent characters. Issue 9, and issue 9 focusing on Luke Cage, who aged it's this issue, aside from being an origin for Luke Cage, showing that he's unbreakable, both that he was unbreakable in spirit before he even got superpowers. Whereas it is a scathing indictment of the U.S. prison industrial complex, where prisons are privately owned and used kind of less. While they do hold criminals, they also hold anyone who's kind of a threat to the status quo. Oh, and Luke Cage takes on the mantle of Power Man, and yeah, a lot of his aesthetic is very like blaxploitation, and with the chains and stuff, which some people all kind of say it iffy, but it does kind of harken back, kind of like similar to Cold Cast from the Elite. But it does at least is kind of make a bit sense thematically, since Luke Cage got his start during the Black Art. Like his origin was that at Marvel kind of wanted to capitalize on the blaxploitation craze days of the 70s and 80s, so they made Luke Cage. And that kind of leads into, although the issue does end with Tony, and so Luke Cage kind of establishes as his own force, which the prison that he takes over, Gordium Correctional Facility, that's going to be important to a future issue. And issue 10, though, might honestly be my favorite issue from this kind of series of things, because it kind of gives some of the best characterization Jim Hammond's got in at the Human Torch. Like, you guys know me, I love the JSA, I love me some Golden Age heroes, and I especially love Jim Hammond. And because he continues to just speak, and he has some really good lines in this series of issues. Like, for example, well, he can't remember a lot since he's an older robot, but he makes sure to keep the high-definition recording of the day he burned Hitler to death. Which, I don't see why wouldn't he. The Ultimates basically are going to Castletown. Basically, it's a group of neo-Nazis who have taken on called the Red Skulls, who, while they follow the ideology of the original Red Skull, Johann Schmidt, their methodology and their look is taken from the Punisher, which, there's a lot of really shitty people in IRL that use the Punisher's skull symbol. Well, I think the Punisher is the ultimate form of badass vigilanteism, when in reality he's a psych, and while he's got some bit of sympathetic things, he's kind of a psycho killer. And this issue is kind of a commentary on that. But it also has a really big revelation. First off, Namor the Submariner is dead. So that's one part of the original Invaders trio, who's dead. And we also meet the Grand Skull, who, it turns out we also get John Walker, it doesn't surprise me that in this twisted world, John Walker ends up being essentially a neo-Nazi. Yeah, which is a shame, because I do kind of like him in the regular comics, but it turns out, but as we learn from this issue, and this really good like data page made from Jim Hammett's private thoughts, it's pretty easy for both him and Steve to piece together that the Grand Skull is Bucky. So turns out no matter what universe, kind of a worse fate for him than ending up as the Winter Soldier, surprisingly enough. Issue 11, and I think while it definitely he has a cool thing going for it, I think it's kind of the weakest in terms of like the overall story. It focuses more on Thor and Sif, and I'm gonna be honest, as much as I love Thor, his whole thing, I think with Asgard and stuff, I think it's kind of like the least compelling thing in this book. Like, basically, it's just a story told more through poetry, with each page being a one-page spread, and basically telling us about the state of the 9 realms, with Loki in charge. How even though things, some realms try to form peace with Loki, eventually he will come for them. And Thor basically just he just going through starting a rebellion in Asgard. And though apparently things are so bad in Asgard, our Thor, the big reveal at the end of the issue is that Thor basically told Surtur to burn it all down. And so, yeah. Although the issue also ends with a bit of a shocking twist. Tony's been waking up, but and yeah, the Ultimates, they've been having nightmares for a bit, but turns out those nightmares may have been more real than possible. Oh, and yeah, issue 12 continues, which goddamn was a haunting cover. Or I kind of wonder if the cover artist was inspired by Tetsuo the Iron Man after this. But yeah, basically, we get two big. Issue 12 is basically the Ultimates kind of coming to a bit of a realization that, oh no, when they fought up the Hulk and his immortal weapons in Kunlun back in issue 6, they died. Those nightmares they've been having about their deaths, because they originally thought it was because they almost died at the hands of them, but no, it was actually Doom just using the Immortus engine and to basically he saved them from their death of as much as they could. And of course, this could have a bunch of ramifications in the future. But it also highlights the fact that the Ultimates, despite being a team for so long, have shit communication with each other. And as Cap points out, they're basically looking at big picture stuff, but it's the little guys that they need to actually inspire in order to turn this world around. Which stands in stark contrast to Doom saying that the world isn't worth saving, so who cares if they destroy it in order to stop the Maker. So yeah, the Ultimates are kind of rebranding themselves. Ultimates 3.0 is going to be about giving power to the people and helping each other out, helping save the world on the ground level while also acting as heroes. But the big reveal at the end of this issue is that Janet Van Dyne, in order to ensure that she and Hank will be spared whenever the Maker comes out of his time bubble, well, she is working as a double agent for Nick Fury and the Agents of Hand. And which, yeah, goddamn. I guess no matter what, one of the shrinking heroes will end up screwing over Earth's most wanted heroes. Gross. And issue 13, we kind of see Ultimates 3.0 in the work. And yeah, the Ultimates, and it's a whole bunch of things, because the Ultimates, they basically aren't just a super team anymore. They are an entire counterculture moveset. America giving speeches to empower people. Old Steve shutting down the Red Skulls and the people who got into this neo-Nazi movement, who lost their way and something to actually believe in. Even the Ultimates launching their own internet to tell their side of the story, since, well, the Makers Council kind of controls the media, and the internet, and has labeled them as super terrorists and kind of informing the public about shit they didn't know about, as well as how to arm themselves. There's something else, and we don't see it happening, but apparently Jim Hammond's going to be doing something, and it's a really good line. When Ireland asks, "What should I tell the others about where you went?" Tell them the truth. I went to start the fire. We also get a bit of a catch up on Gamma Island, which has now basically been occupied by the Council's forces. And She-Hulk looks worried she's going to kill Banner by her own hands. And we learn that Thor is kind of MIA because, yeah, as told in the last issue, he's dealing with the whole revolution in the Nine Realms, so he doesn't really have time to deal with mortal concerns. Again, I think the Thor stuff is kind of the weakest part of this book. And one of the coolest things is that basically Iron Lad, they have the Immortus engine, a time machine. They are basically using the Maker's own technology against them, because Luke Cage has his own Ultimate Avengers program to teach them and to basically find people who are actually worthy of the hero of the origin boxes, as instead of just handing out to people who were heroes in the regular timeline, your 616 universe, because that was like the main flaw with the origin boxes. Iron Lad and Doom assumed that by sending them to people who did become heroes before, that they would become heroes again, when this is a completely different reality and these are completely different people. Oh. And yeah. So basically they're building their own superhero army and using the Immortus engine to kind of like use the Maker's own plan of having a time dilation base of operation where they can grow their forces, which I'm looking forward to seeing how that goes next issue. But we also see that the reason why Iron Lad has been everywhere is that he's using the Immortus engine to kind of just split himself into different fragments of time. I'm breaking him into isolated moments. And yeah, the way some of the blue lines like go across his face in some panels. Yeah, if it isn't obvious that there's an incredibly high possibility that Tony might end up becoming Ultimate Kang, and here you go. And of course, Janet is spying on all this. So yeah, that's been the Ultimates. It's still one of the best. Like I said, this book is up there with Absolute Wonder Woman and the Miles Morales Spider-Man book for some of the best superhero comics of the shelves, because it's bold, it's got things to say, it's got some really cool art, and it's just a fun reinvention of my favorite super team. And I also think it's the best book from the new Ultimate Universe. So yeah, we're gonna be catching up because next issue we get a new version of a certain kooky quartet. Until next time, have a great day.